it's something that I think about every once in a while. I just get in very particular moods, to where I'll just be thinking about, I'll get kind of over obsessive over one idea or one train of thought, I guess. I remember a couple months ago, I was really hooked up and I was like super nostalgic, and I was like over obsessing over nostalgia, and I was actually gonna do a video on that, but I never did. I think I took notes and stuff for it even, but I ended up not doing it, which is a shame. I'll probably do it at some point. Guarantee I get in that mood again, because it's just an everlasting cycle. But today I wanted to talk about a very specific topic, the meaning of life. We're just gonna dig straight into it, man. I don't even know where to start. This topic is so massive that I don't even know. I had no idea how to do an introduction to this. I still don't know. This is probably just going to be a complete ramble of a lot of different thoughts and feelings that I've been having, because I don't know. I've just been thinking about it a lot, and this is something I've thought about, and I think everyone thinks about just throughout their life as they get older, as times change, different things like that. And because I mean, why are we here? You know, what is the meaning of life? What the fuck is the purpose? I'd also like to put a trigger warning if you don't like hearing about existentialism or death. This probably isn't the video for you, because I'll probably be talking a lot about those topics, because they're so integral within life itself, and also I experience a lot, so and I like to think about it and talk about it, so sue me. But yeah, so I guess I should start at the beginning. Throughout a lot of my life, I've always thought about the meaning of life, but I was raised Mormon. I was raised Christian, with kind of believing in God and believing in an afterlife. And I always kind of just went along with that type of thing. I was never super into it until I became more of a teenager, 15, 16, where I started thinking about it more seriously, and I kind of took it a lot of just face value of oh yeah, this is how it is. Yeah, of course, there's life after death, and stuff like that. And within organized religion, the meaning of life is very paved. It's very literally, in Mormonism they call it the plan of salvation. It's they literally have a plan, and it goes through all the stages and stuff. And yeah, so it's something that I honestly probably didn't think about that much, because it was just there. And as I got more into Mormonism, and as I served a mission, giving up 2 years of my life, I became a very, very devout Mormon, and it was, to me, it was like a knowledge. I knew it was true, I knew that there was an afterlife. So I didn't really bother myself with those type of thoughts, which is interesting, because I was still pretty severely depressed at times of my mission, and just throughout my life of being a devout Mormon. And there's lots of different reasons for that, with Mormonism being kind of the root of a lot of it. It's not a religion for me. Because I ended up like leaving the church, and after that, that's when like my whole perception of what is real, why am I here, what the fuck is going on, just completely shattered, like everything came crumbling down, everything, and suddenly there's just an infinite amount of things in front of you. I would like overly obsess over like, well, if the Mormon church isn't true, what is, and I went to a lot of different, I tried to search for a lot of different ideas, thoughts, philosophies, different stuff like that. And I would just get very hyper obsessive over this, of trying to like, find out what the meaning of life is. And I know obviously I'm not the only one. I'm sure there's lots of people out there who feel similarly, which is why I kind of wanted to make this video, so that, I don't know, people don't feel as alone. I just feel like people don't talk about it online as much, or at least I guess I just haven't seen it a lot, unless you're like specifically watching stuff about it, like philosophy channels or shit. But yeah, I don't know, man. I would just keep running around in circles, and it felt like I was going so insane, because there is no answer, there is no one fix-all thing, or maybe there is, but there's no way of knowing or finding it out. Obviously, Mormonism would disagree. They would say, oh, by your feelings, which, I mean, is one idea. I think at some point I kind of came to that realization that, like, what the meaning of life is, whatever you give meaning to, like whatever is meaningful for you. It's a very personal thing. And I think most people kind of come to that conclusion that that you give life meaning, you choose what meaning you want for yourself, because it's just what makes the most sense. And I know that, kind of, and I definitely think that that's probably the healthiest way of dealing with that sort of thing. However, even though I know all these things, like I know that there are things that give my life meaning personally, and that I don't necessarily need a like big, grandiose, this is a banner that's like, this is the meaning of life, this is why you exist, this is your purpose, type of thing. But I can't help but feel that still itching in the back of my brain, like I know I don't need it, but I can't help but feel like I need it or want it, or maybe it's just a natural curiosity. I have no idea, and these feelings are very hard to convey. I'm not the best communicator. But I'm gonna try my best, because what else am I gonna do, Yeah, and I guess going back to, like, the idea of you give yourself meaning, I think a lot of the stuff that I was thinking of, like, I should give some examples. Like, for me personally, it's kind of hard, I ask myself that question of like, well, why? Like, it's almost like, what makes you happy? Why? What gives your life purpose? music has always been a really big one for me. But then it's also like you have these things that it's, I don't know, they almost feel small, you know, like what does that even mean? Music is my life purpose. Well, what even is that? What aspect of it gives me purpose? Is it just the feelings I get when I listen to music? Is it making music, you know? And it gets a little too complicated, and I definitely get a little too lost in that sort of thing. But I definitely feel like there are some very specific things that are very much like my friends, like being able to connect with people. And honestly, I think that's a big reason why I'm making this video. It's just that feeling to want to connect. Because having human connection, like, there's just no feeling like it. Like, I have a couple of really close friends that I love so much, and I would say pretty much all of my friends give my life meaning. They're a huge part of me, and what I love about life and my existence and getting to experience things with them and getting to share things with them and get their perspectives and their ideas, it's such a beautiful concept to me, because humans are so interesting and just like fucking crazy. It's like insane when you think about it, like what the fuck. But yeah, it's just cool. I just like people. That's what it all comes down to. Sometimes it's the most simplistic things that are the answers that are right in front of you, you know? Like, I love being around my friends and people that I love. And what more do I need than that? But yeah, it is, I don't know. It's hard though, because then it's also like, there's just so many things that go through my head sometimes, you know, that it just starts spinning. And I tried to like write notes to keep myself on track, but it's so easy to like veer off. But I honestly, I try to think of other things in my life that give me purpose, but they all feel very like shallow, if that makes sense. Like, I really like consuming media, and I think a lot of that goes along with connecting with people sometimes. Specifically with media that is like really hits me to my core. Like, I really like the movie Donnie Darko, just because it has such a dark, specific vibe that I relate with a lot, which is probably problematic. But same thing with a movie called Cure. That's another movie I really like, or even like the Shuzo Oshimi books, or there's just a lot of different things, or even songs, music. Kevin Abstract's American Boyfriend is like forever. Ooh, just like that album was there for me during such a hard time in my life. And there's just a lot of these small things that, you know, mean so much to me. And I almost feel like that's a huge part of the meaning of life for me. But then, at the same time, it feels so, like, pointless, you know? Like, that's it. You know, like, this movie is, like, gives your life meaning. And, you know, that's tough. I don't know what to think about that. It honestly makes me feel kind of like lame, you know? And I don't know, it's not lame to me, but I guess I just don't know what to think about it. It is what it is, I guess. People like what they like. But then it's also hard because sometimes I feel like I indulge too much in things like media distraction to distraction, which I feel like is kind of cliche, but it's fucking true, you know? I feel like a lot of cliches are very accurate. It's why they're cliches. But, yeah, it's hard to feel sometimes like I'm not just like going through the motion or just trying everything I possibly can to distract myself, pull myself out of reality. And I don't know why I feel that way. But it is what it is, I guess. And if you feel the same, I hope you know you're not alone. There's a ton of people like that. I have friends who feel very similarly at times, so it's a very understandable emotion. We're just human. That's most of my problems, just lie with being human, you know? Oh man. Yeah, it's funny to think about. This is a bit of a tangent, but like when I was going through questioning, trying to on my quest to find like the meaning of life, like it's even possible. It's fun to think it is. Like, you know, you always have that small, like gleaming hope that there's something, you know. But yeah, scouring the internet's funny because you just see all types of people, a lot of cringy shit. But then, like, specifically with trying to find new ideas to try to, especially being so enclosed and like raised in such a religious bubble and popping out of it and trying to look at everything, and trying to look more into like philosophy and stuff, and that it's that sort of thing I really like because I think it's cool and it's enjoyable, but at the same time it's like a lot of the people who are into it are, it's just like it's really cringy, you know, like it feels like these people who are like intellectual elitist where they're like, oh, I'm so smart, oh my god, you know, it's like a circle jerk. It's kind of a gross way of putting it, but it's like an intellectual circle jerk of like people just being like, oh, well, I think, like having such like deep thoughts and shit like that, and being such an intellectual person, and they think about stuff that other people don't, you know. It's like they're trying to be quirky. And obviously, I don't know, that's kind of mean of me. Like, people are just trying to fucking live their lives, man. Like, do whatever the hell you want, honestly. But I don't know, it's pretty funny. Like, nobody should be looking down on anybody. Nobody knows what the fuck they're talking about. Like, literally anything could be just as true as anything else, almost, you know, in my brain. Maybe excluding science, you know, science is a bit of a different topic altogether, but when it comes to like philosophy or religion or the meaning of life, shit like this, these kind of ideals that are impossible to find. Yeah, complete side tangent of me just going off on a very specific type of person. I just came across so many people like that. It's funny, honestly. It's funny. Yeah. I guess that's a good way to lighten stuff up. But back to the seriousness. That's why we're here. And I kind of want to talk about back to the meaning of life. Like, I kind of just realized the other day, as I was like kind of trapped again in my cycle of being like, oh, well, like, what could it possibly be? Like, trying to think of different things or ideas, you know, just back in the never-ending cycle. And I just thought shit like that, And it's like I knew all that stuff. But did that actually, even though I knew all that stuff, I don't think it appeased anything for me, that didn't help me at all. In fact, I would say that it was detrimental to me for multiple reasons. I think the biggest one being that God's plan and the one true meaning of life, I don't know, wasn't enough for me. And also, I don't think it really aligned with my kind of deep down, feelings, or my deep down meaning of life for myself, religion didn't, at least Mormonism in this aspect, didn't align with that. And also, I guess it was kind of nice because I wasn't scared of death, because that is after leaving the church, the fear of death becomes so much scarier. Not because I was so certain it was happening. It's hilarious thinking about it. I was so certain. I was like, yeah, bitch, I'm going to heaven. Honestly, such a pretentious idea of me being bitch, I'm going to heaven. I don't know where the fuck you're going, but my delicious righteous ass is going straight up to heaven, bitch. That's so funny now I'm thinking about that. But I really was yeah, I'm going to heaven. This shit don't matter, But I think that's kind of a lot of the things, in Mormonism, this life is a test. And it kind of felt well, I've already passed the test, I've done most of this stuff, and then it's just so do I just keep doing the same thing until I die? It felt like there wasn't any more progression until death, and then I could progress more. But until then, I felt almost trapped. And it almost felt like if there's no death, permanent death, and there's no purpose, what the fuck is the point? But then, you could flip that on its side as well. You could even just say, well, if I'm gonna die, then what the fuck is the point, And nihilism versus, what do you call that? Optimistic nihilism. But yeah, so I guess it's just perception, honestly. Maybe. I don't fucking know. I'm not a fucking philosopher. I'm just a guy with a fucking microphone and a shitty ass camera trying to make ASMR. That's mid. My room's not even fucking decorated yet. I moved recently. God damn, brother. Yo, am I having an existential life crisis right now? Anyways, yeah, back to death. So, yeah, I don't know, life felt pointless to me. And now, even though it's fucking scary thinking about death, it does give me a bit more of a sense of urgency to want to do things, and be make the most out of the short time that I have, even though, and that's another thing, going back to how sometimes I feel a lot of the little things I do are useless, or the stuff I like is pointless, or the fact that I think this thing is an integral part of me, or a meaning of gives my life meaning, Donnie Darko. Fuck that. Nothing fucking matters, Back to optimistic nihilism. If nothing fucking matters, then so what if Donnie Darko 'cause that's awesome. It's better than nothing. Oh man. What's that one lyric to where it's like, what a beautiful face I found in this place that is circling around the sun. I see. Oh, can't believe how strange it is to be anything at all. Can't believe how strange it is to be anything at all. Oh, that's such a good line. That's such a fucking good line. It's just so accurate. Like, it's kind of fucked up how we're just thrown into this body, into this consciousness of and not being able to know anything really, you know? In the grand scheme of things, it's almost torture in a way. Hey, maybe we're in hell, maybe we're in a simulation, who fucking knows, bro? And I guess, you know, I've talked about a lot of stuff, and maybe something stuck with you, maybe something didn't. It doesn't matter, even if nobody watches this, it doesn't really matter, because you know, a lot of this video is more so for myself, to kind of get to express a lot of these feelings that I have, even if it just goes out into the void, you know. But at the end of the day, I think thinking about all these endless possibilities of what the overall meaning of life, what the purpose of life is fun, as long as like you don't overthink it or get too lost or you start drowning in it. Don't get lost in the sauce is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, the answer is 42 though, like for sure, you know. Oh, that was cringe, bro. That was cringe. Honestly though, hot take, being cringe is sick. I'm just saying. Life would be so boring without cringe. Fucking sue me, bro. What are you gonna do, huh? Anyways, yeah, I hope y'all enjoy this. If you don't, I don't care. I hope you have a good night, and I hope you don't have any late night existential crises. I'll probably talk more about existentialism at some point. Cause I don't even like, I don't know, there's a lot of similarities and like crossovers I feel like with this topic, but yeah, I think this is good for now, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night or morning or day. I hope you have a wonderful life. I hope you're feeling amazing. If you're sick, get better and get some rest. Treat yourself, and love ya.